Today we are here to discuss Cat in the Box. This is one of the hot sellers from both Origins and Gen Con, sold out of both. But before we get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell down there so you can follow along as we discuss other games, not necessarily cat themed, but future games.
Right.
I'm sure there are some cats.
Yeah. We never reviewed cat lady things.
Maybe we should, maybe cats might watch after this, so maybe we could dangle things or something.
So we did do Isle of Cats. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are, I'm sure, more cat games coming for any cats that might want to watch. So, all right. So before we get into it, Alan, we'll talk about this game.
I'm being allowed to read this time. Usually Robert does it, but this is in honor of my spending 4 years on Okinawa while I was in the Air Force, so perhaps I won't quite butcher the Japanese names quite as bad. Cat in the Box is an overall rank of 2,743.
2022 release.
2022 release by Bezier Games. Currently rated a 7.9 on Board Game Geek, or as those of us in the Department of Defense would call it, BG2. It was designed by Mineyuki Yokoichi. The art by Osamu Inoue, carried the same last name as a former senator from the state of Hawaii. Manufacturer suggested retail price on eBay was $59.99 because I think it's still
it's probably not the MSRP.
Yeah, it's not available for retail yet. That's the only price on
scalping it.
Yeah, only price on eBay. eBay is the only place I can
find
anybody selling it.
No, it is up for pre-order on Card House. So you could probably get the MSRP from that because usually they list it, but I don't know what the MSRP is, but I'm sure it's not $59.99.
And this is the deluxe version.
Right? Yes. So,
yep.
As far as what makes it deluxe, I don't know what's in the basic game, but you get these screen printed see-through tokens, which I think are really cool. They have different themes varying from science to mice. Then you get these inlaid, which they really don't need to be inlaid, but they're inlaid little player boards. It's card sized. And then you get these cards. I went ahead and sleeved them. They have a slight linen finish to them. They're pretty thin though, so I went ahead and sleeved them because we're going to shuffle these a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's your typical trick-taking type game, so you shuffle the deck every round. Then you get this inlaid board here where you place your markers throughout the game, and it actually has little slide-ins for cards because you can vary the setup for player count. And also, there's two difficulties. The cards have two sides. That's in the score pad. You get a score pad in there. So the score sheets are only one-sided, though. I think that was kind of a waste. They could have done.
Yeah, but it's such a simple score pad. You can make your own.
Yeah, you can just write it on a piece of paper.
Just a piece of paper with
Yeah. And of course the rulebook. So all that is what's in this box. The box does have a nice insert for putting all this back into.
If you can open it.
Yeah, it's got things for each of the markers. Now, the one thing is it's not designed for sleeving, though, because it barely fits in with the sleeves.
Okay.
So it's kind of sad, but if it doesn't work, I'll take the insert out because I want my card sleeved. So all in all, I mean, there's nothing super spectacular. I do like the tokens, though. I'll probably go ahead and give it a 6.5 because I like the tokens and the inlaid boards. What do y'all think?
I'd almost go better than that. I mean, it's for a small game that, while somebody's quite proud of the one that they have on eBay at the moment, I thought it was done quite well. The inlay, the cards could have been better, but they're considering they're going to be shuffled a lot.
Yeah,
that's probably the way they've done them. As far as you get them, all that slickiness just ends up being a problem with cards if you do too much with it. So I don't know. I think I could go more 7.5.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a 7 for this deluxe edition. Probably a 6.5 for retail.
Okay.
So,
all right. So talk about the theme. So the theme is Cat in the Box. It's about Schrodinger's cat.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because when you play a card, all the cards are non-suited. So you declare the suit at the time. So the suit doesn't exist until you actually play the card. So it's kind of along the lines of Schrodinger's cat. So I like the fact that they did tie it to the cat. I mean, the tokens are either science related, as we mentioned, or cat related. And the mice, or you have these little cat tokens, which really are just there to block numbers that are not in use. So I think it's a cute theme. And it's tied loosely to the game, but not really. I mean,
Not that anybody ever saw Schrodinger's cat, but I wonder if it really looked like that.
Well, I'm wondering if they tried to put it in this box. I'm pretty sure the cat is not alive if it's in this box.
I don't know. That's the question, right?
Well, if your cat is this size, and you've got a problem. You've removed all of the oxygen or the liquid from the cat at that point. This box, definitely no cat. So I think it's very loosely on here. You could have made it anything, but it's a fun theme for it. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 6 on this as well.
6.5.
Yeah, I'm about there. So
okay. All right. So moving on to the rule book. So the rule book is, obviously small because it's a small box game. It's got really small print, which I didn't like. It's only 12 pages long, but they try to make it humorous and make it look like there's this science briefing, and
it helps with the theme.
It helps with the theme, but it made it more difficult to read because they scratch out words throughout the book.
Make it look like it's redacted.
Because it's like in this experiment, which is slashed out game, and they do it all throughout the book. So it just it's not difficult. It's distracting. Okay. So as you're reading, it kind of breaks up the reading, which it's still a little fun. And then they got some notes written in on the different pages, which are. The notes don't really bother me in it, but the scratching out of the words as you're reading through is kind of distracting. But there was no confusion. I mean, it's a very basic trick-taking game. Once you get down to it, if you're familiar with hearts or spades or any of those kind of games, you're going to understand how to play this game. It does add some novel things to it, which we'll get into when we talk about gameplay. But the rule book is pretty clear on what you're going to do, how you're going to score it, and everything. I'm going to give it a 7, I think, because of the distraction factor, but it is clear how to play the game from reading it. It's not bad.
Okay. So how about gameplay?
So gameplay. So you've got a deck of 45 cards, which you're going to shuffle and you're going to deal out around the table. With 4 players, you remove the 9s, so that you only have 40 cards. So it depends on player count how many you end up with. But out of that, we're going to end up with 10 cards in each hand for a 4-player game. You're going to remove immediately one of those cards from your hand, whichever one you choose. So 4 cards will be removed from that playthrough. And then everyone has one of these boards in front of them. It has, depending on the player count, numbers in the middle that let you guess how many tricks you're going to take during the play. It also has a mark on each side for the color that's got an X on it, which are important because
which represents suits.
Yeah, those represent the suits that you can declare, and you're going to put one of your markers on each one of those X's to mark that you have access to that suit, and then you get to judge based upon the cards you have which of these numbers you think of the number of tricks you're going to take. So if I have a lot of high cards, I'm probably going to pick one of the higher numbers. But you still can only take up to 3 tricks. I mean, that's the maximum. So you can guesstimate what you think you're going to take, and then you play the hand to try to take that number of tricks precisely, ideally. But if you can always take more, and they don't count against you.
Yeah, you get points, but you wouldn't get as many points potentially.
Yes, because you can get a bonus based upon the board, and I really like that aspect.
Yeah, I really did too.
So
I never got it, but I liked it.
So each turn, you're going to play one of the cards from your hand. Whoever's leading is going to lead, and they're going to place the card oriented around their board based upon which suit they're leading. And in this case, we already filled the board, but let's remove these so we can actually place them. So as you play, if I played this 8 and I put it on the blue, I'm going to play here. Now everyone is going to play a card and try to follow suit if they can. If they can't, or they don't have to, they can opt to play a different card. But given the fact that you've got cards with no suits associated, you generally can follow suit on the first round.
It's just the number can be played again.
So if somebody else played and they had a 6, they could play a blue, and they would put one of their markers on the blue 6, and so on. You cannot play a number that's already been played of that suit. So after that card's played, now once we determine who won, in that case the 8 is probably going to win, but somebody could have chosen to trump.
Sure, right.
If they did choose to trump, say Alan didn't want to play a blue and he wanted to play a card that let him say, okay, here's a 2. You can play a 2. Now red is the trump suit always in this game. So if he played 2 red, he broke trump, which most trick-taking games, you can't lead trump until it's broken. Right. And it's similar in this game. So he has to remove the blue marker from his board because he didn't follow suit. He can no longer play blue
this hand
for the rest of this round. So he's going to take the trick because he played the trump, and trump beats anything as long as it's not a higher trump. So he ends up taking the trick, but now he can no longer play a blue card.
And there's still a lot of blue available.
Yeah. So he's going to have to judge because you've got to get rid of your entire hand of cards -1 because at the end, whatever cards you have, when you get down to 2, you'll discard the last one. All right, so if Alan played the trump over here, he's now got the trick, but he can no longer play blue. So when his next lead, he has to lead yellow or green, or now the trump is broken, he could lead trump. So, we all are going to continue doing that until either all the tricks have been played -1, and that one will be discarded. So you will have 2 cards now removed from the hand, and you'll play, in this case with 4 players, 8 cards. Or if someone cannot play a card because the numbers are not available that they have remaining, that creates what they call a paradox in this game. And when that happens, the round ends immediately, and everyone scores the tricks that they have taken.
Except,
whoever created the paradox gets negative points for any tricks they took. So if the person that created the paradox had 3 tricks already, they now got -3 points for that round.
Hi.
Yeah, that happened too. And you don't get a chance at the bonus. Now, the people who did not create the paradox, if they successfully predicted the number of tricks that they took exactly, and it can't be more tricks, you have to have an exact number, then they get the points for the tricks. In this case, I predicted 2, I took 2, I would get 2 points for the tricks, but I would also look at my distribution of these tokens on the board. So if I had, let's say I had 4 of these tokens together, and I have one over here and one over here at the end, I would look at my largest area of tokens, which would be this, and I would get 4 bonus points, 1 for each of those connected tokens, on top of the 2 I took, so I'd get 6 points for this round, which is actually, for this game, a pretty good score for the round. I think my high was 7. I think that is the highest we got for a round. So it's very difficult to connect your tokens like that because you have to consider that plus the fact that you got to take the number of tricks you wanted.
Right.
So it can be very difficult to get both of those things to work in tandem. You were successfully doing it throughout the game.
Three of the 4 hands, I should pull it off. I think that's what's interesting. Where typically when you're playing a game like Archer Spades, you can't play until it's broken. In this game, you could break trumps on the very first hand. So with the strategy that you've got of trying to create that chunk of your tokens together, that can play into how you do it. I mean, breaking trumps on the very first hand would be risky because you've basically eliminated 25% of the board.
Right.
So that would probably force you into you're going to be playing trumps a little bit.
Right.
So.
And I should point out there's 4 suits, but there's 5 cards of each number in the deck.
And you don't know what 2 cards people aren't going to play. And
if you happen to be dealt all 5 of the same number, then you could discard 1 and be safe, 100% guaranteed. But that's the only way, because otherwise you don't know what the other people threw away. So you're gambling. If you keep a lot of the same number, you were at risk of not being able to play one of those cards. But it does give you more opportunity to connect your tokens. So there's a balance, and I like that. That was really my favorite part of this, was trying to create a pattern on the board, but also score the number of tricks that I needed. And I pulled it off one time successfully. I almost, if I'd stuck with my guns and predicted 1 trick on that other round, I would have done it as well. But all in all, I really thought this was a cool game, and it definitely deserved the attention it got at the conventions, I think. Being a huge bridge player, this was a lot of fun for me. I like trick-taking games. I know Caleb's not a huge fan, but I don't know if he enjoyed it nearly as much. But the rest of us, I think,
I think we had a really good time with it.
Yeah. So I think my score on this, I think I'm about 8.5.
Oh, by the way, the number of hands is equal to the number of players.
Yes.
I don't know if we mentioned
No, we didn't mention that.
So 4-player game, you do 4 hands.
Yeah, it's a very quick game.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it 8.5.
I agree, 8.5. Good.
Yeah, I think I was going to go an 8 because I'm from Indiana. Euchre is the best game ever. So as far as cards, so I can't give it a higher score than Euchre. So, but it is a great game. I give it an 8.
All right. So all around good scores on this one. It's a small box game, very portable. If you are into cats
or cards,
or if you're into putting things into boxes and not knowing if they still exist, this would be a good game for you.
Yeah.
So check it out. It should be coming out soon, hitting retail soon.
Yep. Just look it up at Card House or your local shop.
Yep. All right. So until next time, bye.
Bye.
Enjoy.